Hey guys, so wanted to talk a little bit about the Steinberger here that I have. Now I want to say something that regarding the Steinberger, because I did experiment a little bit with different string sets for that. The stock strings were actually 0.10 set, 10 to 46. Obviously it sounded a little bit too thin for jazz, although it probably, because when it comes to jazz, what you have usually, it's a decent amp, hopefully, and then you probably add some reverb, and that's the sound. It's a very clean sound. It's clean, and it's real clean sound. I put the Addario, I think, on there, the Addario half rounds. And the thing about those, that set is that the third string, the G string, was wounded, which makes a whole difference in terms of the percussiveness of the guitar and the resistance, because we do need some resistance. I do need some resistance when you play jazz, because you want to strike the string, you want to have it bounce back to you. And that's a problem you have with a lot of solid guitars, I think, because as opposed to the resonance that you get from the arched up, from the acoustic resonance that you have in the box itself, we don't have it in solid stem, let alone in this guitar. You have a very small body. Although it's a full scale neck, still it just doesn't bounce back as an acoustic guitar. So I thought that putting a wounded string on the third, it's a very important component of getting around this obstacle. Right now I have a regular set. I think it's a rounded wound. Probably, I think it's a NYL set of the Addario, and but I still, that set of string comes with a regular steel string. The third string is a steel string. It's not wounded, so I did replace it with wounded string. Speaking about the half rounds, and they come with the 0.24 wounded string for the G string, for the third string, and that was, I still had to do a lot of, experimenting with the neck height. I did have to adjust the truss rods more than one time, and you have to experiment with that. You can't, obviously, you cannot just put the strings and just let it go. You have to adjust the neck. You have to make sure the tension is right. Also, I had problems with actually intonating it, with tuning the guitar, because the strings were much thicker. So I actually had to tune the guitar with a Phillips screwdriver, because I just didn't have enough strength to actually turn it, unless I'm using a Phillips screwdriver, which you can actually insert here. And then, I actually took it apart. I put some machine oils in between, and now it goes okay. This is a 12 gauge string, and you can actually tune it without using the screwdriver, but it's a little hard. So you have to kind of release it first, and then tune it up again. So just letting you know, these are some of the obstacles I had. Also, let's talk about how to make that. We were talking about how to make that sound a little bit bigger, a little bit more jazz, more percussive maybe. So I did experiment with that a little bit. Some of the pedals that I used before the amp, I did put analog delay before. Some reverb, obviously. Right now I have a delay from the program from Logic that I'm using. It's an analog delay from the pedal board that they have there. But, I'm putting it it's very, very low. The repeats you can hardly hear the repeats, but it's still widening up the sound a little bit. Obviously the reverb make it a little bit more, hollow. You can also use, if you can, a nice EQ pedal before that, to adjust the lows and the highs a little bit more, specific, be more specific about it, and then maybe get the resistance that you want. Okay, so that's in terms of the pedals. Remember, you can always use an analog delay, that helps. And you can also use a reverb before that as well. I heard there's some hollow body guitars, headless guitars, that started to appear around the world now, and people are purchasing it. But again, you know, this is not going to give you a total substitution for an archtop guitar, but it is much easier on the back, easy to carry around, very good for public transportation. I'm using mostly public transportation when I'm moving around the town. And you know, I have to admit that I received very good response about the guitar. Every time I play, some people even like it. Some people even like it a little bit more than the traditional jazz sound, because it does sound a little bit modern sometimes. You can, and it reacts very well with effects. You know, you can always use chorus and stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll play something. So I'm in E flat for some reason. I guess this is the key of the day.